Hi, thanks for coming back, watching another video. I hope you enjoyed my previous video from a couple of weeks ago where I went to Ripon and Fountains Abbey. So I've had some good feedback on that, so hopefully this new style of video is going to be something which injects a bit more excitement and something different into the channel, because I want to make more videos. And I definitely do want to keep it still about historic churches, and definitely will always be working that into my videos. But my love for going on really long walks and looking for other, historic landmarks and talking about the history of those as well is something I really want to do. So this video is about a much longer walk than the one I did in Ripon. This is one I did actually at the very beginning of May, just in the first sort of week or so. It was my birthday week. I turned 30, and the day after, on May 11th, so I've been 30 for one day, I did this really big walk which I had planned for a very long time, and I want to use this video here. I'm going to talk very shortly before I go into the clips of the walk, because I recorded the whole thing. I want to do a little bit of explaining about why this walk was quite special and why I wanted to do it. So it actually sort of started back in last summer of 2020, at the very beginning of the summer actually, when I picked up this book really cheap, Roman Yorkshire by F.R. Pearson. It's quite an old book, mid-20th century. It's not an amazing book either, but I was really drawn to it by this front cover. I thought, what is that on the front cover? I'm familiar with a bit of Roman Yorkshire, although not all of it by any means. This road here, this sort of Roman pavement as it's described in the book, is actually sort of very close to Lancashire. It's near a place called Littleborough. And looking in the book to find out what this was on the front cover, it's a Roman road which runs over Blackstone Moor, which, as I said, is near Littleborough, which is just south of sort of Calderdale. You're only a few miles away from that part of West Yorkshire. And it's been described here as a Roman road, and I thought, that looks really impressive. And then I forgot about it for a few months, and it never really sort of crossed my mind, until one day when I was in the Leeds Library, which I'm a member of, and I often like to look through some of the old books. I was looking through the transactions, well, actually not the transactions, the excursions, the logs of the excursions of the Thoresby Society, which is it was in the late 19th and early to mid 20th century, a local history group sort of set up in honour of Ralph Thoresby, a local Leeds historian, who they had a very big membership at that time, especially sort of pre-war. So I was looking through their pre-war excursion logs, and they used to do a couple of excursions every year, and they'd go all over Yorkshire to see historic churches, cathedrals, castles, various ruins, and they'd go and see any sort of archaeological feature of historic interest, really. So I was looking through it, and I stumbled across one that actually related to Blackstone Moor and this Roman road. They went specifically for a whole day to go and see it. And it turned out that this was actually on the day after my birthday, back on May 11th in 1901. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to go up there and explore it, because I'd first heard about it last summer and it was still in my mind. And I thought, this is more than coincidence. This is sort of freaky. So I've got to go out and do it. So I did. So I put myself on a train and made a transcript of their 1901 excursion log. So I know all the times that they got there on that day in 1901. I know what they did, I know where they ate dinner, and I tried as best I could to sort of plan my route there on the same day, following in their footsteps. I tried to plan it as best I could. So there were a few changes I had to make though. They left Leeds station by train at 1 o'clock and got into Littleborough at 22 minutes past 2. I left a little bit earlier because the weather was better in the morning, and as you'll see in the clips, it started to chuck it down in the afternoon. But it did take me about the same amount of time to get there. Just over an hour and 20 minutes. But what they did is they walked about 8 miles straight up onto the moor from Littleborough and went right over to a place called Rishworth. They had dinner at Rishworth, and then they got the train back from Rishworth train station at 7 o'clock. Rishworth doesn't actually have a train station anymore, so I wasn't able to do that. So as you'll see when I get to the clip, which will be after this one, where I use my finger to trace my way up the OS map, I went north. I went up onto the moor, saw the Roman road, a bit of it anyway, and then went north up towards Hebden Bridge and Studley Pike. One thing that is interesting is when the society members got up on the moor, they'd gained permission to dig around some of the stones of this supposed Roman road. For years, this Roman road had been described as that. It was considered one of the finest Roman pavements up on a moorland in the country. But it was in the 1960s, and this is something that Pearson's book is a bit too early to give credit to. But it was in the 1960s that it was actually proven that there was some confusion over the sort of entirety of this route and its authenticity. You know, it was actually said that some significant portion of it was actually a packhorse route, a much more modern packhorse route going over the moor. And at one point there was a detail sort of linking it to a turnpike road of 1735. So if you look on the OS map today, there's still some confusion because there's a portion of it still marked as the Roman road and another sort of significant portion marked as the packhorse route. And they do overlap, and I think there is some sort of general confusion as to which bits go under and above each other. But it was great to go up there and see it, so I hope you enjoy these clips of me going up onto the moor. Like I say, I didn't explore all of it, but I hope you enjoy. And if you're interested, stick about afterwards, because I'll talk about some books that I also got for my birthday, as I think some of them might be of interest. About 2 miles into the foothills of the moors, we're going uphill along this old Roman road, which is also the old packhorse road coming down towards Littleborough. But then here at this sort of crossroads, we're going to go northwards along cut through Blackstone Edge Moor, and then keep going past Blackstone Edge Reservoir over the road, keep going up along the Pennine Way until we get here onto the Rochdale Way with another reservoir to our east, and then we've got another reservoir, the Warland Reservoir. And then here, by the time we're overlooking Todmorden, sort of, on Langfield Common, we're going to take a 90-degree turn along the Pennine Way again, which then goes northwards, and then cuts along this quite sharp edge on Higher Moor. And then we get to the Pike Monument, and by this point we are sort of overlooking Hebden Bridge. So then we're going to cut another 90 degrees and then start going downhill slowly. And then there's 1 or 2 ways I might go. You know, if it's really raining, I'll go maybe down here, try and get to these woods quicker, try and dry off a bit. Or I suppose it doesn't matter really, otherwise I'll just cut down here along this, you know, much more worked agricultural land and then all the fields, and then cut way through here and into Hebden Bridge. So what I'm seeing here on the way up, on what on the OS map is marked as the Roman road, is some of these stones which were maybe misidentified in the past, starting to show themselves already. So what I'll do is I'll put some photos or some clips up now of some of those stones which I'm seeing on my way up onto the top of the moor. So the rain has just started to come in, but but that's fine. We're nearly there, nearly at Studley Pike. So it's alright, and it's still nice and warm, so it's good to be out. Don't bother me one bit. I think I spoke too soon with the weather, but I got back down to Hebden Bridge okay. I absolutely soaked through, but I had my overalls and my trousers, waterproof trousers and that, so came down the side from Studley Pike. Now the rain's actually stopped a bit in Hebden Bridge, so I take my hood down, it's nice. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video there, which was me going onto Blackstone Edge Moor and then up to Studley Pike and down into a very rainy Hebden Bridge. Like I said at the end of this video now, I'm just going to talk about some of the books which I got for my birthday, which I think might be of interest to some people watching. We'll see. But before I did that, I want to say thank you to Martin, the Man of York, on his YouTube channel. In his last video, he gave me a shout out, which was really kind. Martin's been following me and seen that I've shared some of his photos and videos on my Instagram, church crawling, and Martin's been a really big inspiration, and yeah, thank you Martin for this, because seeing your videos, and they've had a big effect on me making my own YouTube videos now, because I've always wanted to sort of share more aspects of the journeys that I take to see historic churches, but I feel like Instagram hasn't really been the right place for that, and it's not what people have wanted to see really in the past. So changing my YouTube channel up a bit to make and share some of these videos where I do share these aspects of the journeys and the walks that I take to get to these places is something I'm really excited about and having a lot of fun doing at the moment, and your videos have been a really big inspiration. So yeah, cheers mate, and I'm always looking forward to your next video, so that's great, thank you. Yeah, so okay, so some of these books which I got. First of all, this is one that my girlfriend got for me for my birthday. It is Ghostland by Edward Parnell. It's like a memoir, part travelogue, where the author goes around the country and looks and sort of, experiences and takes in these landscapes which have been really big parts of works of famous folk horror, horror films, horror fiction, and relates his own sort of like personal experience and growing up, experiences in these parts of the country which are quite, spooky or disturbing, or very dramatic in some way. The memoir aspects of it don't come off as well for me, but I'm definitely enjoying the chapters and the pages where the author goes into, great sort of descriptive passages about a bit of background to some of the great works of fiction from like M.R. James, William Hope Hodgson, also films like The Wicker Man. So it's an okay book. I mean, it's sort of getting through it really quickly. It's got a great front cover, which I've been drawn to for ages. It's sort of like these prints or like ink drawings, which all tie into one big image, but they contain characters, from some of the works I've mentioned of fiction or film. So yeah, if you're interested in that sort of thing, I'd definitely say that's worth a quick read. The second book which I got for I got for myself for my birthday actually is William Atkins' The Moor. So up here, I mean, the whole point of this video, I suppose, with up on Blackstone Edgemoor is that there's a lot of moorlands to explore up near where I live. Got the North York Moors not far away as well. So it's, you know, it's sort of like just how the moor plays into our lives and has done over history. And again, it does tie in some elements of the moorland in various works of fiction and writing. But it looks, I've sort of dipped in and out of it, and it looks like it reads really well. So I think it's a well-written book. So looking forward to getting into that one, definitely. The next one is one which everyone has read, I'm sure, or is at least a very popular book. Robert Mcfarland's Underland, a deep time journey, it says. It is an epic exploration of the Earth's underworlds as they exist in myth, literature, memory, and the land itself. There's a fly there. So, yeah, so it's, again, it's sort of similar to some of those other two books which I've mentioned already. But this is one which I've been wanting to read for ages. And one of the first dates, actually, that my girlfriend and I went on, one of the first dates we had, was to the awards ceremony for the Wainwright Book Prize, which was at Countryfile Live at Castle Howard in 2019. And we actually saw Robert Mcfarland accept the award for this book, but I'm not reading it until now, which is a bit of a shame, but, you know, better late than never, I suppose. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's got a great front cover as well. I know that Robert Mcfarland has worked with the artist Stanley Donwood before, who Stanley Donwood is, you know, a frequent collaborator with Tom York and Radiohead on their various album covers and associated bits of art. It looks like something he'd make, although I'm not entirely sure it is. So if this is by another artist, then full credit to them. It's a good looking book, and hopefully it's going to read really well as well, so I'm excited about that one. The final book I got is just out in paperback, or it was a few months ago anyway, a book by Andrew Ziminski called The Stonemason, A History of Building Britain. He's a stonemason who has worked on lots of, you know, some of our country's great monuments, including Salisbury Cathedral, I believe. Andrew Ziminski is also really great to follow on Twitter. He posts a lot of great photos and bits of, you know, information about some of the projects he's doing at the moment. So I recommend you follow him on Twitter if you have Twitter. But this book's probably a pretty easy read. I'm always interested to read things about from the perspective of artists and stonemasons and creators who work on these great buildings. As I'm a big fan of historic churches, of course, stonemasons are a big part of that world. So it's always interesting for me to read their experiences and their sort of insights into these buildings as well. So I'm looking forward to Ziminski's book. So that's it, just those 4 books. But if you're reading anything at the moment that you think I might enjoy, just drop it in the comments and let me know. I might eventually get to it, because these are only the top of my big mountain book pile. So I've got to work my way up to get to these books. But it shouldn't take too long. I mean, I've already started Ghostland, or about halfway through that. But yeah, just let me know. And yeah, keep in touch. Leave a comment, like, follow, you know, all that usual stuff. Yeah, cool. I'll probably do a new video at some point soon. Thanks, guys.